It's the weekly show about rAVe with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary. Steph and Gary.
Good morning, everyone. It's Gary K. and
Steph Beckett. Happy Wednesday.
We got a lot of stuff going on here. We got a lot to talk about. We have our live guests again today. Brad Hintze from Crestron is going to come on, and we're going to talk about, I wouldn't say it's a controversial topic, but the return to office mandates and how that's going to affect our industry. It's going to actually be good for our industry, whether you like it or not. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, some of the things that you saw at Enterprise Connect, Steph. That was a great show for you and Tim Albright to be at, and got some new product news out there. And
yeah, lot happening.
We're in between big shows here. And Steph, you'll be happy to know that I actually saw a movie since last time you and I had a show.
Okay, I think I did too.
You think you did, or you think you saw the same movie?
I can't remember if I already told you. Tell yours. Okay,
I saw Black Bag.
Oh, was it good? It looked dumb.
I loved it.
Oh, okay.
I loved it. I would highly recommend it. It's like a spy movie, but it's the husband and the wife are kind of investigating each other, but it has a very much a surprise ending.
Okay,
That's why
it's kind
I would
of
highly
like
recommend it.
It's kind of like Mr. and Mrs. Smith if it wasn't a comedy. At least like that's how it seemed to me.
Yeah. Okay. And it's got Kate Blanchett in it, who I love. What's the tall guy's name? Who played Steve Jobs?
Is it Michael Fassbender? Yeah.
He's awesome because he can kind of transform himself into his characters. But I highly recommend it. I think you should definitely go see it.
Okay.
What'd you do? See Snow White?
No, I'm seeing that Thursday with Beecham. Actually,
sounds like you'll hate it based on everything I've read.
I know. I think we will, but I'm just gonna give it a shot because I do love Rachel Zegler. She's a theater kid. I gotta support my fellow theater kids out there. Like, show them some love.
So, what did you see?
I saw Opus.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, you know that one where it's who is that? Who's the guy? The man
in Opus?
Yes. It's
I
about
haven't seen it, but I can't remember.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
But while you're looking that up, guess what I'm doing on Friday?
What are you doing?
I'm going to see Glengarry Glen Ross, the play in New York City.
Oh, very cool. Wait, you're gonna be in New York City, like?
Yeah, I love that. I love, as you know, I love that movie. I showed your class that scene.
Yes,
always
you
be
did.
Selling, always be
selling.
And it's got an incredible cast. Bill Burr.
Yeah.
Kieran Culkin.
Yes.
Bob Odenkirk.
I love Kieran Culkin. Yes.
I can't remember off the top of my head who all the other people are, but it's got a couple other people in there. It's going to be amazing. Fun. I can't wait. I'm guessing Kieran Culkin's going to play the Alex Baldwin character.
Oh, you think?
I think so. I mean, that'd be great for him, right? Because
that would be.
He could come in just like, because that's one scene. He just comes in, takes over for 20 minutes, and then you never see him again.
Yeah. That'll be so good.
Can't wait to report on it.
I'm going to be in New York next week.
Okay.
So I'm trying to decide if I should go see a show or not, but I kind of
100%.
want to. Yeah.
100%. Like, why would you go? Like, you and I
there's so many like shows out there that are so good right now that I don't even know where to start. Like that is happening.
Glengarry Glen Ross. It's gotten phenomenal reviews. It's got a great cast. Why would you not go see that?
Little Shop of Horrors. They just cast 2 really great people as the lead.
Never heard of it.
You've never heard of Little Shop of Horrors?
I'm kidding. Like I've probably seen it like 15 times.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And who I was talking about in that movie was John Malkovich.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's right.
He plays like that washed up kind of like superstar who goes away, but then like comes back. And then this journalist gets invited to like a weekend at this like dude's compound, and then she realizes it's a cult and they're probably going to kill everyone. So it's fine. It's like one of those movies where like you go to the
cult story.
Yeah, where you go to the place and then you realize they're killing everyone. Like there's one of those movies like every year. So it was good.
All right. Well, we got a lot of news to report on and a lot of stuff going on in the industry. And I think the first thing you want to talk about was a study that confirms what we already knew, that all audio quality matters. I was driving home listening to NPR the other day
Okay.
As I do. I'm obsessed with NPR, and they reported on a study that was done by Brian Scholl, who's at Yale University. And what they did was, and I'm going to get the numbers not totally right, but we linked the story in at rAVe Pubs, where I think we had it on the screen, or maybe we didn't have it on screen. But the study talked about what they did is they took like 800 people and they had them do mock job interviews, and then they also had them record things. And they used the built-in microphone on the laptop, and then they used a mic like this, a professional mic. And what was interesting is the same people in the same interview, same situation, got treated better when they used a better quality mic. And so therefore, in some cases, they actually got the job. But there was a big difference between the quality of the microphone that you used and the position that you ended up with, and how far you went in the interview process, how seriously they took you.
Yeah.
And so this is the first study like this done. So I immediately forwarded the study to Peter and you. Peter Hart at Shore and you. And I was like, this is like right down the alley of our industry, right? You know what I mean? Because, microphone quality matters. And, as you're working remote, all of us were working remote, need a really good quality mic. You should not be using the mic just built into your laptop, because people don't, statistically, data wise, people don't take you seriously. This was a pretty good thing. They actually use Zoom calls, Teams calls, WebEx calls.
I love that, like, the takeaway that the researchers at Yale landed on, though, was like, hey, before actually joining a Zoom or a Teams or a WebEx call, like, maybe check your audio before you join the call, or like purchase a high quality microphone. And I'm like, yeah, we know.
Well, that's why I said it's perfect for our industry. And I think we can leverage this, and it's a great story, and we got it on our website. And I think this would be a great thing for integrators to use when they're going out and selling systems. And so, because here's some data that proves it from Yale University saying, look, the quality of the mic really matters. And I know our guest that we're going to bring on right now, Brad Hintze from Crestron, we're preaching to the choir here, Brad. This was a pretty interesting study. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it on our website yet, but the fact that audio quality matters, at all levels, not just in the Pro AV market, Brad, probably doesn't surprise you.
No, it's not surprising at all. I haven't read that particular report, but I will certainly after this. I think that, it's clear that, as we rely on remote technology to represent who we are, the quality of that technology really matters, both the audio, but also the video side of it, which is part of what we can talk about. And the AI factors, even compound that further, right? With transcription accuracy, all of those details. It's good to have some data to back that up, though.
And then what happens, for those of you who don't understand the science behind it, but what happens is, the better the quality of the mic, the larger the frequency of input. The worse quality, the narrower the frequency. So as you may not realize this, but when you're on some calls where multiple people are on laptop microphones, you probably don't really think about it, but they all sound the same. In other words, there's not much frequency range there, and they all start to sound the same. So the AI translation and transcription is going to have a hard time knowing who's who and identifying the nuances in people's voices. Brad. So I think, in case people don't know who you are, they should by now. Brad Hintze is the executive vice president of global marketing at Crestron. Crestron is one of the big supporters of rAVe TV. We appreciate you doing that, Brad. And I know you want to talk about what you got there on the screen with you, which is, you said in the beginning, you asked off camera, is this too controversial? I was like, no, I think this is reality.
No, because we've been talking about it in the industry and like how it's affecting us. So no matter how you slice it, this is going to affect us in some way. So I think it's good that we're talking about it.
I think so. I think that it's not the return to office mandates are not controversial. I think it's just the political climate in which it's happening certainly is.
For sure.
And we're sensitive to that. I think that we're a U.S.-based company. We're very proud to be a U.S.-based company. We're also deeply invested globally, right? And we have offices all around the world and employees that are, live and are part of those local regional areas. And so, it is a very strange moment in terms of the politics of it. But politics aside, the reality of getting work done and the evolution that we have been through. I thought that, this particular news, while it is certainly a lightning rod moment with where these mandates are coming from in this particular one, but the provocative nature of there's cockroaches everywhere. But I think that more importantly, and I think more disturbingly for employees just trying to get their job done, there are comments here about the importance here is for the collaboration and accountability and delivery across the whole workforce. Great, I can buy into that. But then when you have some people that are sitting out on their floor, they're using their personal smartphones, people are just trying to get work done. And and I think that's part of where the opportunity is for our industry, is that we have to think about it as it's not just going back to the old days, and it's not just come back into the office. You have to create that experience that makes it worthwhile, right?
Yeah, you talk about there being 3 different workplaces. We have work from home, we have work from office. Tell us about the way that you see the third.
Well, it's really just that, this third office space of, you've got your personal office, you might have a personal office at the office itself, but how can you make the entire office building this kind of third workspace where you have really flexible spaces, you have the flexibility to enable people to meet together in person or to dial people in and have a conversation with them there. And that's all really important. But I think that, the quality of the audio experience really, truly matters. But to enable that, you also have to enable the video experience and make that better as well. And, one of the things I think that, the data that supports on the audio side is recreating that really natural auditory experience of when you're in person, technically is really important. The same is true when you're talking about the video side of it. And so how can you create a very natural experience? Because naturally we want to look at people in the eye, right? That's what we do when we're in person. And so how can you enable that kind of a thing for remote participants? And so one of the things that we've been working on is leveraging computer vision and AI to deliver a better multi-camera experience that's more natural. And so we just released what we call visual AI direction. And that is really all focused around when you're in a meeting room, particularly with other people, you're going to naturally look around the room. And so how, for the remote attendees, how can you deliver an experience where the camera that has the best view of the person, of the speaker's face, is the active one? And so this is the feature that we've built into this. We're very excited about this, to provide that natural experience. And so if you're starting here and then you turn to look at another colleague, that camera switches really smoothly and naturally. And so this is a really cool and exciting enhancement that we're happy to bring to market. We've been talking about this for a while, and we think it will really change that multi-camera experience.
And obviously this uses AI. And what do you recommend? What is your recommendation as far as number of cameras to put in a meeting space that is a traditional sort of meeting space? We could say there's lots of different sizes of rooms, but in reality, the most meeting spaces are like what you just drew there.
There's like a solid medium.
Yeah, where you have like an oval table or oblong table, and you have 6 to 8 to possibly 10 chairs in it. What do you recommend as far as number of cameras and placement?
Yeah, certainly it is impacted by the room and the kind of experience that you want. But you really want on the upper range of that camera setup, really between 8 to 10 is a great way to be. And part of that is because, one of the things that we built into the system, you never want to switch to a camera that's repositioning itself because you'll make the remote attendees sick, right? And so what we do is while one camera is fixed on the active speaker, the other one will reposition. And then after it's in place, it will switch. And the more cameras that you have in the room, the more seamless and quick that is. And so there's an experience benefit of having that. Now you can go fewer. The experience will be different. And we actually have ways of demonstrating that so that people can see some of those trade-offs. But one of the ways that we enabled this is from the ground up, we built Automate VX, the system, to be aware of what's going on in the space. Right. And that's what powers the AI. And so one of the things that we use is something that we call our room designer. And inside of the room designer, you actually place the microphones, you place the people, and then you place the cameras. And that trains the system to be spatially and contextually aware of what is going on in the room. And then that feeds the AI model to be able to make and do these switches automatically, rather than just a sophisticated set of presets, right? That's the old traditional way of doing multi-camera setups. This way, you're able to use AI to switch really smoothly and seamlessly between all of those cameras.
Are you certifying different brands to work with this? Or so that if they're using, for example, they have an install that already has Shure cameras, but they're going to use your One Beyond, Shure mics, but they're going to use your One Beyond cameras and such. How's that certified to make sure that we have contiguous operation?
Yeah, the microphone performance and the data from the microphone is certainly critical. So we do certify them. We have microphones certified from Sennheiser, from Shure, from Yamaha. We have a couple of others as well. So we do go through quite a bit of work to certify those and make sure that they're feeding in the right data and the right kind of performance.
Yeah, and then you also, I mean, what you're talking about is picking up the nuances in a meeting that you wouldn't normally get when you're working from home. Now I'm going to flip the question to you in a way that you're probably not expecting. Okay. At what point will Crestron work on fixing the problem in the room? Because I think what Microsoft has done with Front Row is good, but not great or the best. So you have good, better, best. It's good. It's not better or best. And I think for me, better and best means that we now have to take the remote participants and we have to pepper them around the room so that people in the room feel like they should care about the remote participants, because I think that we still don't care as much about remote participants when we're there live. We kind of take them not as important to the meeting when they're not there.
Yeah. So that's an excellent question. And no, I didn't expect that, but I love the way that you opened the door to talk about something that we have been talking about for a while. And that's something that we call the sightline experience. And this came about actually when we were coming back to the office. One of the things that we noticed was exactly what you're mentioning. And I sat in a meeting, literally in a meeting with my team, and we had a TV at the end, and we could see the remote attendees, but I felt this cognitive battle.
Yeah, they're like 2 inches tall.
Yeah, they are. They're 2 inches tall, but I want to look at the person that's in the room next to me, right?
Yeah.
And so one of the things that we came up with was this concept called Sightline, where you actually put displays around the room near the cameras. So no matter where you're looking, you can see those remote attendees. And the first time I held a meeting in this room, I held a staff meeting, and I had staff members in Europe and then also in the US. And it was so life-changing.
So do you have a packaged product that solves this problem, or is this just a concept?
We can deliver these today. And so this isn't like a SKU you order individually.
Yeah.
Rather, it's a combination of the SKUs. So One Beyond cameras, Automate VX multi-camera system, NVX for the video distribution around the room, right? The control system to turn it on and make it really simple to use. And so all of this is shipping and existing. And we have many numbers of these deployed already out there.
That's awesome.
And it's really helpful. It's
after this meeting, follow up with me and send me a link to that page that you've got there. We'll put that on the description of this particular broadcast. But I'd also like to challenge you to take it to the next level because I think that there's a need. I love the idea that you're putting them with the cameras so that it looks like you're looking at them. So if you're a remote participant, they're looking at you, you're looking at them. But also, I feel like there's an opportunity to, let's say you have 10 remote participants, they don't all have to be chopped up on the same screen. Why not put multiple screens where one is dedicated to each person? And depending on because it's AI, depending on the framing of the person and the quality of their camera, they'd be put in one of the larger displays or one of the smaller displays, depending on resolution and quality and so on and so forth, and pepper them around the room so that when they're not being used, and you could do this because you got this technology, they become pieces of artwork.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's a really great idea, and it's a good way to push that. You see, as we're working with Microsoft as well on some of these things, they're bringing elements of this into Teams and they'll highlight a room tile is bigger than an individual tile,
right,
on the thing, and you're taking it further to even go around the space and everything. I think it's a great idea, and as we continue to expand multi-stream support in these work and working closely with these service providers, I think that it is something we can certainly get to. And I think the exciting thing for our industry is that more and more executives and those people that are using these spaces, they are within themselves are developing an expectation for the way
correct,
they want the room to operate, which is excellent, right?
And the thing is, people don't know how to ask for something like what I just described to you. If you haven't seen it before, like it's in my head.
Right.
But if you haven't seen it before, you wouldn't even know how to ask it. So one thing I can guarantee, you've heard me say many times over the last 20 years, is if you don't tell someone something exists, they're not going to buy it from you. In this particular case, Brad, I didn't even know you had this. So I think, no offense to your marketing team, but I think that this is something that should be,
fire that marketing team.
But I think you should push this as a case study heavier. I think this is, because again, they're not going to buy it from you. They don't know it exists. Brad, thank you very much for coming on. Obviously, this leads really well, Steph, into your review and your experience at Enterprise Connect.
Yeah.
And I want to thank Brad and his company, Crestron, for being a sponsor of rAVe TV, allowing us to come on here and do this every week.
Yeah.
But tell me about Enterprise Connect, because you and Tim went to Enterprise Connect.
We went, and this is actually a piece by David Danto. He's so good at, he was like, hey, I wrote this about my thoughts. And I'm always very appreciative of him when he does that. So basically the crowning jewel of Enterprise Connect was, of course, AI. It's not just kind of like a supporting act or like a nice to have anymore. It was literally what everyone was talking about. Like no one would shut up about AI, which like that comes as not a shock to anyone ever. But what we like a new kind of term that was kind of used constantly was agentic AI.
Yeah.
Which is, it learns even more. It's AI built for a specific purpose, and it learns the more and more and more you use it, which is kind of how AI is already. But this is really made for a specific purpose. And
I'm building an agent right now to build my syllabus.
Yeah.
At UNC to automate that process, and I'm sharing it with the other professors. So this agentic AI, allows you to build your own agents and then allow it to continue to learn. It's sort of like machine learning for you, right?
Yes, exactly.
And so the idea behind this in the collaboration space would be that through firmware updates, software updates, and also customization, the room would get smarter and smarter. It's like what Brad was describing.
Yeah.
Instead of having to recalibrate the room every time you add new mics, it would do it automatically. Or if there are fewer people in the room, it would re-accommodate the room based on that, so that you didn't feel overwhelmed in a large cavernous space.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think we're going to hear AI. I had an interview yesterday, which we'll publish today or tomorrow, with Dave Labuscus, who's the CEO of Avixa, the people that put on Infocom. And he was saying, last year, every year it changes what I'm talking about. This year is AI year, right? I mean, we're going to talk a lot. And I think it's just going to be that way. We're going to just talk a lot about AI stuff. But you had a great time at Enterprise. How can they see all the coverage of Enterprise Connect?
Yeah, sure. They can go to ravepubs.com/Enterprise Connect. And we'll bring this up later, but Tim and I are hosting a replay of Enterprise Connect later today at 2 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to come and just see a few of the videos that Tim and I thought were significant, a few of the products, the things really relevant to our industry, you can join.
Perfect. I hope people sign up for that. And you can always go to ravepubs.com and go to trade shows, and then drop down there and pull up the show you want to see. That includes, all the videos we shoot at all the shows. So in other news, we have, a few other things to cover today before our day goes away. Meyer Sound debuted Astria. I think I'm pronouncing that right, which is aimed at, giving you theater quality sound in large venues, and actually for cinemas, especially like when you're building an auditorium in a corporate campus and you want it to be, you want it to have that cinema quality.
Right.
They've sort of like not the level that you put in a movie theater, but one level down. And then also to amp up the quality of your live events in large venues. Well, I would should say live events in permanent installed large venues, not traveling live events. That's what this line is for, and it is now available. They showed it at ISE. I think we have a video of that from ISE. I forgot to embed in that article, but yeah. So what else you want to cover? The Chief Velocity?
Yeah, so Chief has a new drive-through menu board system for outdoor displays, just kind of reiterating how digital signage is touching our industry in multiple ways. If you are not into that, this is kind of like a natural way to get into it because everyone knows Legrand. Everyone deals with some type of Legrand brand. So you can start offering digital signage as something that you do if you're an integrator, because this is going to kind of help you get into that. So the Chief Velocity outdoor pedestal system, this is for single, dual, or triple display configurations. Really good for that QSR drive-through menu board setup. It supports 55-inch outdoor displays from Samsung and also LG. So
perfect.
Again, two brands you're probably already working with. So I think that this is kind of like the perfect product to help get integrators into this market.
And at Enterprise Connect, rAVe unveiled a 4K NDI capable camera with 2 lenses, and it has AI auto tracking on the edge built into it. Check out this video that was shot at Enterprise Connect. This is a pretty cool camera. One camera with 2 lenses is pretty cool. So you're capturing 2 things at once. So check this out.
Right now, they're optimized for Zoom.
Hi, I'm Mike Garson, Director of Product for rAVe at Enterprise Connect. Here to show you our TR535 camera. This is a new dual lens camera. We have simultaneous outputs from USB, HDMI, IP, NDI, dual lens, wide field of view on the bottom, and then a tracking camera on the top. It's 4K, 60 frames per second with 30 times zoom, and it retails for $43.99. Website is avereusa.com.
Okay, so let's continue on. We have some news from D-Tools, and D-Tools has kind of done some research about the industry, and they say that the home AV and pro AV market, the growth in 2024 was 6.5%, which is good because I think that we've all been a little anxious during COVID-19 of the market growth and being concerned about what are we ever going to get back to where we were in 2019 again. And I think that we're starting to see that despite economic challenges, the custom integration industry and, the regular like pro version of that they're both growing. So I think that is, a good sign, obviously, for our industry.
All right. So this company called Dream Chip Technologies made a claim. I did pull off the claim from the story before I sent it off to Clara to write up. Claims that they have built the smallest camera for commercial applications, 29 millimeters by 29 millimeters, which is basically 29 dimes stacked on top of each other. So it's very, very small for the quality of 4K camera. So it's a POV camera. So you can imagine, like in the case of Steph, in the case of like esports, where you're wanting to put a camera right in front of the face of a gamer, so you can see their face, you can see their expressions, but you don't want to be giant in front of their face because it's kind of intimidating. That's the kind of camera you use for that. And they're going to show it at NAB for the first time, but they sent us a sneak peek of the product, and if it does what they say it does, that would be the smallest. But it was hard for me to verify, to validate that. So
I'll have to go check it out when I'm at NAB.
Please do.
Yeah.
And then another one of our sponsors is Shure, and at ISE they launched the Shure Next 4 and 8, which is brother and sister of the 2, which is aimed at higher education. And at Enterprise Connect, Steph got a deeper look at it. So check out this short video from Shure on the MXW Next 4 and Next 8 wireless systems, which are just larger than the Next 2.
Hello, everyone. Vanessa Jensen here at Sure's booth at Enterprise Connect 2025. Really excited to introduce you to our new MXW next generation of wireless microphones for conferencing. We have our MXW Next 2 system, which was introduced last year, and we're building on the success of that system with the introduction of the MXW Next 4 and 8 systems. So you'll see we've got a dedicated access point available in those 4 or 8 channel varieties. We've also got an all-new charger for our gooseneck microphone solution, which allows us to very quickly and easily link our systems together and charge these devices in practically no time, taking all of the guesswork out of your wireless microphone needs for conferencing and collaboration. For more information, visit shure.com. Thank you.
Okay, so Emily Dean, our team, went to Sony's AV Tech Expo, and she wrote up a whole piece that we kind of do whenever someone does a road show or an expo, just kind of about what she saw. And she was really great. She inserted a lot of the videos of each kind of section going through the products, but then she also did a whole playlist of them as well. So if you're interested in seeing, all of the products that Sony had, they have, of course, their AI driven and auto framing cameras, of course, the Pro Bravia lineup, the Crystal LED. If you just want to check this out, and they even had like a gaming and residential and like a Walkman kind of throwback section. So if you just want to check out everything that Sony had there, and you couldn't make it to the event, this is kind of the perfect thing for you to read and perfect videos for you to check out.
Yeah, I love the fact that we do those wrap-ups like that. So we love case studies, and we kind of studied what Epson did at ISE. We shot some video of that, and we talked about that when we did our ISE review, because they did a sphere by only using 1/4 of the sphere technically to project on. And we did some investigation, figured out how they did it. And we have an entire story and case study on it. Green Hippo was the media player that they used there to create that illusion. You can see how they did it by going to ravepubs.com and reading that story now. And I do want to remind you that we do have Replay Enterprise Connect coming up today at 2 p.m. Steph's going to do that with Tim Albright of AV Nation, and the two of them walked Enterprise Connect together and did the show together. That'll be at 2 p.m. today. If you are a launch member, you can just go right in to see it. Otherwise, go to launch.com, lavnch.com, and register. And that way you can see it. And then, of course, we also have an event tomorrow. I think that's tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow at 2 p.m. I'll be part of that. Shure has a launch and learn. We're using our launch platform on plug and play devices and installation guests. For those of you who are end users and want to learn more about how Shure can solve your problems, this is the event for you. If you're an integrator, maybe not. But if you're an end user and you want to understand Shure's products better, this is a great event for you. So if you are an end user or work with end users, encourage them to sign up for this event. It is specifically catered to you. And then finally, Steph, Launch Week 11 is coming up, and you and I'll be tag teaming that along with a bunch of other people.
It's 3 days this time. So it's going to be April 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. We are not doing themed days. We're kind of just incorporating, like, there's a digital signage session each day. There's a straight Pro AV session each day. We're incorporating some education sessions throughout the days. We're kind of just making it so that each day is valuable to you, and each day again is eligible for 2.5 CTS, CTSI, or CTSD RU. So if you come to the whole week, that's 7.5 CTS RUs. Ooh, math is rough. Anyway, so that's almost a third that you need to renew your full CTS every 3 years, because you need 30 every 3 years. So if you come to those 3 days, you get a good bit of that done. So we hope you join. Go ahead and you can scan the QR code, which we can throw up again. And that will take you to the link to register for that.
Perfect.
So
All right. That's it. And that's our show for today. Thanks, Jeff, for producing the show. And Steph, thanks for having guests. We're going to have a guest on next week too. and maybe the next week after that. So you should probably watch and pay attention to what we're doing. And
exactly.
And yeah, aren't you going to E4? Is that next week, or is that?
Yeah, it is next week.
Where is that?
I am
so
going.
Want to know about it.
That is going to be in Teaneck, New Jersey. It is the New York Metro E4. So if you are on the East Coast, this is probably going to be the easiest one for you to come to. I'm excited. I'm going to be teaching a class again about the things and the important trends that are going to take place in 2025. I taught it in Dallas and it actually went really well. I was scared. But I'm going to be teaching that again. And then I'm going to be giving the official show floor tour. Gary has passed his crown down to me to start giving the show floor at E4. So don't know if I'm doing as good of a job as Gary would have done, but I'm
sure you're doing great. But I want you to set up a camera and record your session so I can watch the session. Okay.
Okay. Well, you've got your little cronies.
Well, you need to have somebody record it, because I think it'd be worth putting it online. Put the session online. So anyway, thanks for joining us, everyone. You can always watch rAVe TV. We're going to restream at noon. We do that every Wednesday. You can always come and watch us live, or you can always go and watch the archive of rAVe TV. This is like our 4th year of doing it. Go to ravepubs.com and click on the TV link. Steph, thank you very much. And
thank you. Bye, guys.
Next week.
It's the weekly show about Pro AV with the hottest news in the AV industry. It's rAVe TV. Give it up for Steph and Gary.